A very good afternoon. I hope I find you very well. Here in Manchester today, beautiful. It's been absolutely beautiful now for about 3 days, so it's been actually quite pleasant on one hand. Now, I do say on one hand because, as we're all aware, we've got this worldwide issue of this coronavirus thing, and we in Britain here, like everywhere else, mostly, have got this 3-week isolation period which has been enforced by our government on everybody in the country except for essential workers. Now, of course, that essential workers has been expanded over the last week or so because nobody really knows who's essential. Obviously, you know, firemen, police and all that kind of thing, of course, nurses, doctors. But of course, what about delivery drivers and things like that? But that's really not what I'm here to talk about. But as a little bit of an aside, if you're feeling a little bit imprisoned, shall we say, by this 3-week isolation thing, have a little bit of sympathy for people like me. What do I mean by that? Well, people like me are the people who are what are classed on the at-risk register. Because I suffer from asthma, and always have, and COPD, which was a diagnosis I don't particularly deal with, but it came my way anyway. I've never smoked, and I've never been in a dangerous industry like asbestos removal or coal mining or anything like that. But anyway, I got that diagnosis as well. So I am at risk according to those who are older and wiser than me. And what that means is that I have to self-isolate for 12 weeks. Yes, you heard me correctly, 12 weeks, which means that I'm not going to be able to go outside for any length of time for really a period up to probably towards the end of June. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with myself for that length of time. At the moment, I'm catching up with movies and all that kind of thing that perhaps I'd like to watch again or have never seen, or things that I actually want to give a fair crack of the whip to. So basically, I'm a prisoner in my own home. So lots and lots of time on my hands. But that's really not why kind of I'm making this video today. I'm kind of making this video today as a little bit of a salute to what I used to do quite a lot of many moons ago before I disappeared off YouTube, and it's going to be a watch-related video. Now the title is going to be something like wristwatches and fortune telling or something like that. And when you've first seen it, you think, well, what the hell is he talking about? Well, talking about myself, I'm no different to most guys out there. We would all love to know that we are actually investing, for want of a better phrase, in a watch that is going to make money. Now, using a bit of my very, very free time at the moment, the other day I was on the net and I came across a Bloomberg article, which is this one. You might want to have a look at it yourself. There it is. So basically what they're saying here is the 3 most expensive watches sold at auction. It's quite an interesting read. So I guess what I'm saying here is that we all would love to have a crystal ball or some form of psychic ability where we can go to an AD or perhaps an estate sale or a second-hand antique clock and watch exhibition or something like that, and we see something that we know, something that nobody else knows, and we find that little piece that is guaranteed to make us some money in the future. Now, we all know that that's an impossible dream. Now, the other thing that kind of put this into my head was that I've been fortunate enough to trip across this to a certain extent with the watch that we all know and love from my collection, the Hulk. when I decided to shell out to fulfill the promise to myself to buy myself a nice watch, what would be my retirement age of 55, which I always hoped that I would guarantee retiring or being part retired by the time I was 55, working in the charity sector as I did. What I hoped was that I'd got further up the ladder. My next move in the charity sector would be a chief exec of a charity. I was deputy chief executive of a charity, a children's charity, when my career came to an end due to ill health. But I bought this when I was 55, and I went, as we know, to a great dealer. All the old guard will know, of course. I went to Iconic Watches, and as we're all aware, Iconic Watches is something that's well known, certainly within the watch collecting fraternity, as being this great dealer who puts really good deals together as far as prices and even credit deals for people if you have to buy it on credit. Now I think when I bought mine, if I remember rightly, the Hulk was something like £6,400, I think, and I got mine for £5,082. Sorry, £5,982. Now we're all aware that what Rolex did with both the Hulk and the Batman was to pull back stock to make it a very desirable watch, decided whether you went for the blue black or whether you went for the green. And as we're now probably all aware with our finger on the pulse, is that we're now looking at a Hulk second hand at 14,000. Goodness knows what an AD will charge for a new one, because I don't really keep track anymore, because I say I moved away from the watches, as it were. So I don't really look online, but you see the occasional one pop up on eBay, and you look at 13.5 grand. Now, as I say, I have accidentally been in the fortunate position where I bought a watch just because I like the colour, which has turned out to go threefold in actuality the price that I paid. And my other Rolex, my GMT Master 1, the Pepsi, I told you the story. When my dad bought that, it cost him £600 in about 1969, caused absolute ructions in the Lomas household, and now you're seeing those online anywhere between in good condition, like mine is. Some that have got boxes and papers. I did have the paperwork, but I don't know where that's gone. Stupid me, you know. But I do have the original box. And you see them online right now, anywhere between about £17,000 and £25,000. And I know there is a video out there from the Antiques Roadshow, I think in America, where a guy who bought the same watch, I think it was, he kept all the receipts. He very rarely worn it. He kept all the tags and whatever else came with it. His original receipt, the guarantee from Rolex, and it was worth something like $62,000. So, having thought about that and having read that Bloomberg article, you know, it's something we would all love to have the ability to do. What would be that watch? You know, that you would think, you know, generally it's always going to be one of the big boys, you know, a Patek or a Vacheron Constantin or something like that, that is going to make a piece that in 10, 15, 20 years time is going to be worth an absolute fortune. Something that obviously they're not mass made anyway, but something that was such a small quantity that within 10 or 20 years time they're worth such an amount of money. Now, I don't really care whether anybody out there considers themselves to be this huge expert on wristwatches. I don't believe that anyone, even those guys, have this inbuilt, inane ability of knowing what is going to be what in that length of time. Who would have guessed that a Rolex Submariner, because at the end of the day, all the Hulk is a Submariner. That's all it is. It's the same as a black dial, black bezel gate, Submariner, stainless steel. You know, the only difference is that it's green. That's the only difference. And it was made in relatively decent numbers by Rolex, as was the Batman, but Rolex decided to hang on to stock to make the demand grow. And so I'm in the happy position at the minute to have a watch that I love, a watch that I rarely wear, perfectly honest. Between the day that I bought it and as of today, I probably have only worn it a couple of dozen times. Now you might think, well, you know, why buy a watch and not wear it? Well, you know, as we're well aware, watches can be a bit of ding magnets, you know, coming through doors and that kind of thing. You do that kind of thing, and it's as I'm becoming a little bit more ill with my MS, I'm losing sensation. So I can walk into a doorway, as it were, and not feel that I'm rubbing against the actual doorway or the beginning of the door, etc. And I'll bang a watch. And I don't want that to happen on one of my prized possessions. So really what this is about is to ask you the question, other than something like the Hulk, if you bought a Hulk and you know full well what's happened to the values, have you ever thought to yourself, I really like that? Now, you know, I'm aware it's going to be built in relatively normal numbers, but I think there's something about it that's that little bit different that might enable it to gain a lot of money within my lifetime, as it were. Because it was quite nice, whilst you're still here and you're not in your box, that what you've bought has actually made you quite a nice return should life get difficult. And as I've always said, I never buy watches to flip. And life would have to go so bad for me to have to actually sell a watch to pull me out of a hole that life has put me in. But it would be nice to know that you've bought something that has gained value. Now, I appreciate there's a lot of people out there who will always say owning a Rolex is like having money in the bank. It isn't. You know, we all know in the real world, you know, having a black subby, normally, you know, you paid whatever it is you paid for it, and if you get 20% depreciation when you sell it, that's as good as you're going to be. You're never going to really get your money back. But occasionally, watches come along that just defy all logic. And for me, the Hulk has done that. So the question is, have you ever had that little bit of inspiration where you've seen something you think that's going to gain value? Or have you inherited a piece that was just part of maybe something your granddad owned or your uncle owned or something like that, and you've just come across this piece and somebody's given it to you, and because your granddad or your uncle really didn't know a lot about watches, but he just actually liked how this watch looked, he bought it, and by the time it's reached your sweaty little mitt, it's worth a cake load of money. Has that happened to you? Let me know, and also let me know whether you feel there are any genuine ways of using your skill to say, right, this is what it's a little bit like, I suppose, tipsters on racehorses, isn't it? You know, they're supposed to be in the know and say, right, they're like the Grand National here in Britain, you know, our biggest steeplechase of the year in April time, something like that. You always get these on-screen experts saying, oh yes, this horse has won this so many races this year over the jumps, and this jockey has won so many races throughout the Cheltenham Gold Cup and all that kind of thing. And you know, you think these are all the people who are clued in. And yet in something like the Grand National, because there are so many horses and it's such a difficult jumping course at Aintree, that the people who you think are the horses that you think will always come good at the end, quite a lot of the time, don't. So is it worthwhile listening to the experts, or am I kind of whistling in the wind here? But let me know. Let me know if there's ever been an experience in your life where something has come into your possession as a gift, an endowment from somebody, or something you purchased yourself that's just happened to gain silly money. Because I think the rise in value of the Hulk is ludicrous. As I said back at the beginning of the video, it's only a subby. That's all it is. And that's why I bought it for the colour, because it's just different to everything else that Rolex make. So let me know. It's funny, even the tiniest things that click you in here, and you think, oh, that's a lovely colour, whether it be yellow or green or whatever it is. Like my Seiko Pogue, I bought that because it was yellow. But let me know. Let me know what's happened to you. Whether you think, whether you're looking at something at the moment and you're thinking, I've got a good feeling about this. I can't really afford to shell out 1,500 quid or whatever the watch might be, you know. But you think, I've got a good feeling about this. This one in the future is going to be worth 3, 4, 5 times its value. Let me know. Now, over here to my right, how are you looking at this? You're looking at this way. Over here, you might see just here, there, a corner of a parcel. That arrived 2 days ago. It is going to be the subject of a video. I'm not going to tell you any more about it than that, but it's going to be the subject of a video. And it's something that I think you will hopefully find quite interesting, because I think it is very, very unusual. But I will let you know more later in the week, because I'm not stuck for time. Or maybe next week, depending on how my health goes and all that kind of thing. All the usual health issues still are around. So that's it for this one. By all means, let me know, get involved, let me know what's happening in your lives, because obviously I've not heard from you for a long time. All my fault, I know that. But by all means, let me know whether you have come into contact with a watch that is yours, that you've made what you now view as a damn good investment, which is how I view my Hulk, of course, or whether it's something that was given to you as a gift or bought as a graduation present. There's a good one. Somebody has bought you something that they like the look of, not knowing about anything about watches, but it's turned out to be a bit of a money maker. Let me know. So that's it for this one, folks. I look forward to hearing from you. If you are anywhere in the world, keep well. You know, my edict in life is, you know, look after yourself, because without you, nothing can happen in your life, and nothing can happen in the lives of anybody else who loves you. So you've got to look after yourself. Make sure that you abide by all the rules and regulations that have been put our way. Make sure you take plenty of fluids in. You know, don't go milling around with people you don't know. Don't go to family. Don't go to friends, regardless of how much they might want you to or nag you to, perhaps. Be careful when you're shopping. Just be well, you know. So that's it for this one, folks. I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.